welcome back to Occult Perspectives. Tyler Smith here. This is the third Starseed video, and I'm going to be wrapping up that little series in this video. Probably won't be doing too much other material on Starseeds unless I come across something later on that really strikes at me, or if I have some kind of inner intuitive dream or situation where I have a bunch of information given to me, I will gladly share. But I'm pretty much just summarizing the Starseed stuff. This is kind of information you can find in these videos. I kind of condensed it and compartmentalized it so it was easy to present. But you can find this information pretty much anywhere. Everyone's information seems to be pretty similar, but it can vary from person to person on what they have to say about the Starseeds. But yeah, this is pretty much going to wrap it up, and then we'll be moving on to other topics. I'm working on some more notes for the Hiram Key series, and I am going to start talking about morals and dogma. So let's go ahead and wrap up the Starseed section. And you can learn about, the different races and such, but the most important thing at the end of the day is that you take that understanding into your meditations, whatever practices you're doing. If you really want to make communication or whatever and learn more about your Starseed origins, that's all going to be like internal work. It's not going to be stuff that you can really just study or learn from books and such. It's going to be more inner knowledge, inner knowing that already exists within yourself. All right, where we left off was with the Lyrans. The Lyrans, I've got some pictures pulled up here. They're a cat-like race. If you've ever played the Elder Scrolls games, the Lyrans kind of remind me of like the Khajiit race on Tamriel. There's a few good ones here. But yeah, sometimes it's like an actual, lion or feline like that. And then other times it's a more humanoid figure with slight feline characteristics, kind of like that girl. Yeah, hopefully that gives you a good idea. I've seen some pretty cool ones that definitely look more like the Khajiit, and the Elder Scrolls series, for sure. Lyran characteristics. Fix that camera. They're cat-like, sometimes bird-like, depending. And when you study the archetypes of people, it's funny that you can kind of see these different, if you look real close, and the eyes are just different facial features, you can see some of these almost animal-like characteristics about. I know a lot of people who are kind of bird. They have like more of the avian appearance. Some are more the cat-looking people, and then some even almost have like a reptilian kind of deal going on, which we're going to cover them a little bit in this video. As I've said before, that's a whole topic you could go on forever. There's so much information out there on the reptilians, probably good information and disinformation. I don't really have any solid opinion on that at the end of the day because I haven't had any experience with that race, and I hope that I don't have to, at least not the malevolent ones. Okay, so the Lyrans, cat-like or bird-like, seventh dimensional, but they mainly live in the fourth dimension, it says. They're from the Lyran constellation, and they are the oldest souls in our galaxy. They are very gifted in fire and earth elements. They helped set up the initiation of Atlantis. I thought that was a pretty cool fact. In Egyptian mythologies, they are depicted as feline-headed gods and goddesses. And this kind of, I put a side note here, reminds me of if you watch Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super, it's in the Dragon Ball Super series, but Beerus, he's like the Egyptian cat god dude. I think the relationship between him and Whis is like an angel, is pretty funny. But that kind of gives you that whole archetypal idea of the Egyptian cat god kind of deal. The Lyrans are psychic and telepathic. They prefer spiritual skills to physical skills. typically. And yes, they are gifted in telepathy, most definitely. Live in higher dimensions, seeking light, clarity, and abundance through connection with eternal consciousness. So they're all about, reaching to the eternal source. They seem not to get too sidetracked by like other agendas and stuff. Like they really have a deep understanding of where they come from. They know, where their home is. But did I write that on here? At some point, they did lose their original home. And I can't remember what the name of the planet is. It just says they're from the Lyran constellation on here. Yeah, I actually have not, that did not come up in either the video or the article. So really, I should have done a little more research on the Lyrans, because really they're one of the most interesting, they're probably the most interesting starseed. But the Lyrans lost their home. I want to say it was the Vega system, Vega. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that. So if you have a feeling of like homesickness, like the Lyrans lost their original home. That I do know. The details I can't quite remember though. So that you would probably want to research on your own. Surprised it wasn't in the YouTube video or the article that I looked in. They bring grace and hope to inspire creativity in all of Earth's living beings. So they're here to, really spark that interest if you have like a Lyran in your life or something, and you've kind of lost that drive or, determination to do the things that you really like in life. They're going to push you to do what you really enjoy in life. They don't want to see you, being weighed down and being held down by things that you really would rather not do in this existence. They are drawn to paranormal, the metaphysics, experience the physical world to the fullest. They love good food, drink, and music, like to dance, push physical limitations, pursue dreams fearlessly. They don't mind hard physical labor, but once they get started, they don't stop until the job is done. They are people watchers and analyze from afar, wise and understanding on a large range of topics. They have a pretty good archetypal understanding of things, and they like to sit back and watch and, kind of see how everything's playing out. A lot of people, there's different archetypes. Some people like to sit back and watch it all happen and just be more the observer and then act according to what they've seen. And then others are more headstrong and they go straight in. But the Lyran Starseed, they like to kind of sit back and watch. Live and let attitude. They are freedom fighters. Not always necessarily like anti-government, but yeah, they are kind of rebels. The rules kind of are just silly to them a lot of the time. The rules that don't make sense, of course. We need some lines and some rules. Natural leaders, they're comfortable in the third dimension, and they seem to be masters of it in a way. So they're really comfortable here in the 3D realm. Fierce and independent, strong and grounding. They need less spiritual evolution to evolve. So they already have a lot of inherent consciousness and understanding about spirituality. So it just takes less for them to kind of initiate things and get things moving along for their spiritual evolution. They have a connection to water as well, the water element, which would be, emotions. They're here to help people experience love. And she continuously emphasized this in the YouTube video, real love. They're here to, just love, 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 teach love. They teach people true love, teach and give love. How to actually enjoy love and open your heart and not be scared. A lot of people, a lot of us go our whole lives, kind of closing ourselves off, and we really don't end up living the way we would actually want to live, or push outside of those boundaries. Like we end up doing things that actually just kind of hold things off a lot of our lives, or things that we're worried about. And the Lyrans are really here to help us open our hearts and learn what that original source love is all about. encouraging others to do the impossible, teaching others how to not be scared. They enjoy the physical experience of love, so this can tend to make some a little more promiscuous. Not necessarily, but they do like the experience of love, and they're masters of the physical realm, so it would make sense that they do enjoy that. They are masters very much in their own right on a lot of levels. If you do think you're a Lyran Starseed, and you can't give this unconditional love yet, it means you haven't evolved into your full Lyran potential, and you need to focus on the heart chakra. So that pretty much wraps up the Lyrans. Maldek. This is the next group of starseeds. One that I'm not as familiar with. Looks like we might have a few pictures here we can look at. A few. I guess there isn't really too much. Maybe that's a Maldek. That kind of reminds me of the Syrians a little bit, though. So yeah, I'm not too sure about those guys. They didn't talk about this starseed in the YouTube video. It only covered this in the article that I was reading. Maldek was a planet in our solar system with attributes similar to Earth. The citizens depended on robotic technologies, and that made them lazy and sick. The lust for power destroyed their planet. They sought a new home here on Earth, learned from their mistakes, and they want to help humans by making better choices in politics, health, and communication. So Maldek was a planet in our solar system similar to Earth. So they came here. That's pretty much all we know, and then those other couple facts. Okay, the next section is Lumerian / Atlantean. Now, most of you have heard of the lost city of Atlantis, and one of the things that people kind of get wrong about or misconceptions, they think it was just like this one continent. But Atlantis was an empire that spreaded like all across the world. And there are, parts of it, they've discovered underwater and stuff. I'm not an expert on Atlantis, but I do know a little bit about it. And then Lemuria was a city or an empire. I believe it would have been an entire empire rather than just a city, or maybe it was an island. Once again, I don't know too much on this subject. Spirit Science is actually a really good YouTube channel to check out the Atlantean and Lemurian stuff. They go really into detail and the stories in there. But they were advanced civilizations lost in Earth seas. They developed philosophical, spiritual, and healing technologies. First Starseed tribes to direct exchange with other planets. Interesting. So I guess like doing business or traveling to other planets. It's a little unclear what they meant there. Both flourished on Earth. Eventually, they destroyed themselves through greed, laziness, and disease. There was I know in Atlantis, there was like a kingship. And the mythology is, I think it's like Atlas, the god, or Poseidon, or one of those two, and then all like the god king, or the priest kings, or whatever, that worked for them. I don't know, something went wrong, and somebody got really corrupt or like power hungry, and that like led to the whole collapse of the Atlantis civilization. Not all the ideas and the technology were lost. Some recovered by other starseeds, some also incarnating back on Earth. So some of these Atlanteans and Lemurians are incarnating back on Earth. Avians and the blue avians. I should probably easily be able to find a picture of those guys. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Oops. Dropping my phone. Okay. So yeah, they basically look like these blue birds, essentially. Wow, that's an interesting picture. That looks like somebody who's on like a DMT trip or something right there. Going on a little shamanic journey. That would be quite an experience to come across those guys. Yeah, I guess I never really put the connection together too. Like Thoth is the bird deity, the Egyptian version of Hermes Trismegistus or Trismegistus. There's another Thoth picture right there. So there could be like some Thoth connection with these. There's an avatar picture. These blue avians. But let's read about their characteristics. Let's see. They're humanoid, bird-like features, live between the 6th and the 9th dimensions, which is more like an angelic realm, where living beings have more energy and they're less attached to the physical. Partnered with the Pleiadians. That's pretty cool. Working together to help Earth. So I would say Earth is in pretty good hands if we're being helped by them. Visionaries with uplifting personalities. Want us to understand our spiritual freedom and multi-dimensional abilities. All right. Before I move on, though, and especially I'm going to be getting into the reptilians next, but all this Starseed stuff, there are a lot of people on YouTube who channel like different Starseed races. I'm not going to say go out and try to do the channeling thing. I'm not going to tell you not to go out and do the channeling thing. I think there's a little bit of risk when you get into the Starseed stuff and you do start trying to make contact. You really have to keep in mind, like, what energies am I connecting myself with? Is this truly Starseed, benevolent? Do I get good energy from this? Or is this like a malevolent thing that I'm really like connecting myself up to? And in the end, it's only going to hurt me, or I'm going to be manipulated and used for somebody else's agenda in a way that I wouldn't want to. Just be careful of those things. Like, that is my warning. That's one of my warnings about getting too involved in like the Starseed stuff and really putting your mind and your heart and really putting yourself out there in the universe to call these beings. Just be really careful and do more research than just my videos. When you're going to be going into this, watch people who are actually like channelers and get information from them like before you go into this. I'm not an expert in that. I'm just here to spread a little bit of Starseed knowledge that I've picked up, combined with some other understandings I have in the occult realms. The reptilians, those are the lizard people. The Saurians, not sure if I am pronouncing that right. Saurians, and Draconians. These guys want control of Earth. They use the government's secret societies to manipulate what we are. They have many enemies in the light wanting to help us. And if you want more information on the reptilians, David Icke has a lot of good information on the reptilians. That's just an interesting topic in and of itself. I can kind of understand, even if you don't literally believe in these reptilian beings or stuff, there's a lot of scary stories. You can look all over YouTube. There's just so much information on it that I don't even really need to get deeper into the topic of the reptilians. But wanting to discuss the archetype a little bit. If you watch Harry Potter, the Slytherins, Slytherins, they kind of have that colder, like more logical, calculated. The reptilian mind or the reptilian idea is a little more of a colder, logical thinking, like less, destruction of emotion, more objective oriented. And then there's the reptilian brain, of course, it's called the fight or flight mode. When you get, your life is really in danger, or you feel really threatened or really stressed, it's the brain stem, and it's actually like the lowest functioning part on your brain. It's the most primitive, it's the most primal. It's like you go into the reptilian mode when you feel in danger. So it's not like a higher, because you've got like the mammalian brain and other parts of the brain. Mark Passio covers that subject really well. If you want to look him up, the whole left and right hemispheres of the brain, and the different sections of the brain as well. But yes, the reptilian brain, even if you don't believe in that stuff, literally, symbolically, the reptilians, it's that cold kind of energy, that almost like not caring, like it's not a very warm, loving kind of energy. It's a very just very, I don't even know, just not good. All right. That pretty much covers most of everything. I've got a little bit more here in my side notes. Let's see. Other characteristics of star seeds. Star seeds come from all walks of life. They tend to have more empathy and are aware of energies. Any soul could rise or fall at any time. It all depends on like what we choose to do with our consciousness in the here and now, which is going to help us like raise in vibration towards what we want, or will, lower our vibration more towards the Klipothic realms of the lower tree of life, rather than Kether on the higher part of the tree of life. Usually starseeds are pretty intelligent. They could have come here to help others or burn their own karma. And we talked about that before with some of the others, like the indigo children and that section. Great paragraph about how all beings are equal, whether starseeds or not. Maybe I should find that paragraph and read that really quick. All living beings, yeah, it's important to remember that, we're all in this together. We're all equal and such. At the end of the day, we all have different archetypal things we can bring to the table. But I liked this paragraph. It said all living beings have a unique purpose, each of which gives birth to soul-specific skills and talents. Starseeds do not commandeer any category of industry, and not all of them have the same abilities, attributes, or talents. Starseeds can be teachers, dancers, artists, politicians, stock analysts, as well as depressed, joyful, wild, contained, limited, or expansive, just like the rest of us. So really, any of us could be starseeds. It doesn't make us like morally or like, emotionally or superior or more intelligent than anybody else. Is basically the whole gist of things there. Yeah, it's all about like really understanding the divine in everything at the end of the day. You often have a feeling that you are from another world. We talked about that before, like the otherworldly feelings. Yeah, here's that paragraph. When starseeds are part of spiritual lineages that seek to help humanity, then they may have higher levels of intelligence and a more expanded collective consciousness. Some have the sole purpose of assisting humans as healers or spiritual masters. Others have come to burn karma. All right. And it says if you feel this calling from the other world, like you come there, as I said before, if you seek these worlds, call them to you, try to connect yourself, but just be careful when you do. Remember, we are all special, and in the end, trying to force a connection could distract you from what you truly seek. So just be you. If the starseed thing's not really you, don't just fake it and try to pretend. There are a lot of kind of, I'll call them fake New Age people. Some people are genuinely interested about learning the stuff, and then others just do it more to make them like look cool. The spiritual path is not always like an easy path. It's not always like butterflies and rainbows. When we've worked through our darkness, we really get to experience, I think, those pleasantries of life on a higher, degree. But to really enjoy and appreciate and understand those things that are that wonderful, we really have to go through the dark stuff as spiritual people. Sometimes it's not always easy. Anyone can expand at any time. Earth human beings are just as special. Just because you come from a high place too may not mean that you are trying to pursue your highest self. So you could be a starseed and be totally like taken off your path too. You may not even remember anything or have that calling. You might have gotten distracted. And hopefully your soul, you know, it's where it needs to be, and maybe you're helping out another soul that needs the help right now. But I hope that you find your true purpose, you know, your true will. The mind is powerful, and you can choose heaven or hell. All of the labels which make us humans are only temporary. Our true selves are unlimited potential. We are vibrant souls that are often distracted with our ego identification. And this is a word that David Icke uses a lot too, and probably Mark Passio, I'm sure. Ego identifications. People ask what you are if you say a doctor or a lawyer or whatever it is, you know, whatever multitude of things. No, you are infinite consciousness or infinite awareness having an experience of itself, you know, you're playing the part of the doctor or the lawyer, but you're really like infinite source, like just manifested here in the physical realm to know itself better in this life. So we really need to bring that understanding back into ourselves. Otherwise, we wouldn't be playing this play that we're playing right now. If we really knew that in our hearts and our souls and our minds and our bodies, that we are source manifested, we are source in action, I don't think most people would be living the way that they are. So as we spread this information, we spread this light, we can really truly start to live the way we want to. We don't have to be in a mind prison anymore, because we end up realizing that we were the ones creating the prison all along. So take that light with you, shine it bright. You light workers out there. There's so many of you. Looking outside can be fun. Physical experience is fun, but within is your forever home. As I like to tell people, I don't know if I came up with this myself or if I found this in a video, and I try to remind myself of this all the time. You are the experiencer. You are the one experiencing this life. Do what makes you happy without hurting other people. You know, that's really all that you can do at the end of the day. Make yourself happy. Give back when you can. You know, don't stretch yourself thin. Don't burn yourself out. But just try to give love, you know, when and where you can, when it's appropriate. And we can come into a better understanding of love, peace, and light. And we are going to manifest heaven on earth. So I hope that this Starseed information, it's interesting to you guys. If you've been watching my videos, if you're watching these and you like what you see, please comment, please say something. Because I don't really know who all likes my videos. It doesn't tell me that. And I don't even know who all subscribe to me. So if you're watching and you like it, feel free to say something. We can start a little bit of conversation on here if you want, or if you just want to keep, you know, hearing what I have to say, and hopefully some of it sticks with you, and you can take that knowledge with you, and you can carry it on in your endeavors, and then you can pass that light, that torch on. So that's really what this is all about, is just if I could talk, passing the torch on to the next generations. So, all right, 28 minutes and 33 seconds. So, all right, guys, I'm going to get off of here. Peace and love. Have a good one.